What's up, guys? Welcome into the Cyclone Fanatic halftime show presented by our friends at Carl Chevrolet, presented by Des Moines and Ames Eye Care. Iowa State trailing Kansas State 7-6 at the half. Iowa State with 2 field goals after being able to drive the ball deep into Kansas State territory. Kansas State obviously with a touchdown on a long play where Kobe Reeder had Adrian Martinez hit in the backfield, couldn't bring him down, able to make a long throw, slip a tackle, and go 80 yards for a touchdown. I'm going to bring in Connor Ferguson here, obviously one of our writers here at Cyclone Fanatic. Chris Williams is sitting in the stands tonight, so he's got the evening off so far. But Connor, I think right now, I mean, you got to feel pretty good about what Iowa State's defense has been able to do. You know, held Kansas State, one of the best rushing attacks in the country, to 48 rushing yards in that first half. But, man, this offense has to be able to figure out a way to put the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, I think just like you said, that's probably the stat that stuck out to me most in the first half was that 48 yards. K-State hasn't lost a game this year when those guys combined for over 100, and they lost to Tulane. They didn't have 100. It's kind of the blueprint to get by them. And, you know, like you said with Reeder, too, he missed that tackle early in the game, but he got on that fumble recovery and saved Iowa State 7 more points given up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that play that Anthony Johnson made right at the goal line and to force a fumble and recover that in the end zone. Iowa State was able to recover it in the end zone. I mean, that's got to be one of the best plays Anthony Johnson's made in his career at Iowa State to this point. Anthony is Iowa State's leading tackler, tied for the leading tackler with Gary Vaughn. And then Will McDonald also has 4 tackles, 2 of those being sacks during that second quarter. I think for Iowa State, like the second half of this game is going to come down to what can that offense do. You know, I think we can see that this defense is doing a pretty solid job. They got to do a better job of keeping those guys from getting behind them on the back end. But, I mean, Iowa State has to get to a point where they stop settling for field goals all the time. They have to get the ball into the end zone. And, I thought that was one of my biggest issues I had last week was that they had to kick 4 field goals. You know, when you get into a position where you got to put that much pressure on your kicker, especially a true freshman, that's just not ideal. But, I mean, I think you look at this first half, you know, Hunter Deckers, 14 of 23 for 143 yards. Xavier Hutchinson's still been targeted 7 times already in this game, but he has done a little bit better job of spreading it around. Jalen Knowles got 4 catches. X has 4 catches. Demetri Stanley has 2. Jairo Brock has 2. Deshaun Henneke has 1. And Sean Shaw has 1 as well. I mean, I don't know. If Iowa State's not going to be able to run the ball better than what they have so far, he has to be better.
And I want to go back to your settling for field goals thing. I'm the least settled for field goals guy ever. I'm on the video game and going for it on 4th and 12. On the 34, not even 4th and 7, but I like it here, and it worked out. That is a risky move to put that kid out there again, especially so early in the game, and he comes through twice for you. So that obviously that pays off. But I think we saw it, especially on that second field goal drive, that they had plays that were getting the ball in the end zone. I don't think it was stalled out because of lack of plays to run. It was just lack of execution in the way they got it done. So I think that's encouraging for Iowa State fans. It's just you got to execute once you get there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hunter has to be willing to run. You know, I think there was one of those plays on one of those last couple of drives, thank you, where, you know, he had an opening on the left side of the field and just didn't run the ball. And, you know, you saw in the last series that he did, you know, run one up the middle and was able to get a pretty good gain out of that. But they've just got to figure out.
He rushed it again, right? Two in a row?
Yeah, he did. Right? Yeah. They just got to figure out a way to be able to find some consistency there, you know, because it's where there's too much. Get one good play, get a first down, you know, you get a false start like they did on their last drive. They get to the near midfield and you have it 1st and 10. All of a sudden you get a false start. Now it's 1st and 15, and you just can't work your way back out of that hole. I mean, they just have to be able to figure out a way to keep that offense going for several plays in a row. And then they've got to figure out a way to string a drive together.
Yeah, and I think it'll come. I think we've seen them string enough of a drive together that you feel confident in how they're moving the ball. It's just there's those plays that they convert a first down or they get big yards, and the next play is a false start, or the next play there's a timeout on the field. I'm not calling on K-State for injuries or anything like that. It's just the momentum is shifting right after Iowa State gets that big play, and that's, you know, you got to learn to roll with those punches, and I think we'll see that from these guys in the second half.
Yeah, Rob Gray from the Cedar Rapids Gazette used to work for us here at CF. He told me earlier that Iowa State's now scored a touchdown on 12 of its 23 trips inside the red zone, which is not not good enough. You have to be able to put the ball in the end zone at a higher rate than what they have so far. Dan says throw the ball down the field. I mean, I think they would like to be able to do that. They just haven't been able to get anybody open. I mean, there's been a couple times where it looks like they've tried to run a play to throw one down the field, and either nobody's open or Hunter's just not able to find somebody. So
And that's what one of those plays near the end zone kind of. It was about a 25-yard throw to Hutchinson went through his hands. It was a diving catch, tough to make. You don't expect him to make that. But they've had some chances like that, just not as many as he'd like to see, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of some of those opportunities as well. I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Iowa State needs to come out right away, get a stop, not let Kansas State get any sort of momentum. And I think if they do that, then they're going to have a good shot to be right in this thing to the very end and give themselves a chance to win the game. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in to the Cyclone Fanatic halftime show. Chris will have all of his usual post-game stuff immediately after the game with the instant reaction and everything like that. So make sure to tune in post-game and hear from Chris Williams. And then, of course, Connor and I will have all of our coverage from the press conference and everything like that. Thanks again to Carl Chevrolet. Thanks to Des Moines and Ames Eye Care. And we will talk to you guys again after the football game.